Hey, what's up, dudes? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today, I want to talk about fighting games in general, but a little bit more specifically, Street Fighter 6, because it's what definitely sparked this conversation. I made that video last week about Street Fighter 6 not being very fun, and it sparked a whole plethora of conversation and discussion around the game mechanics, and one specific discussion came out of that I really wanted to place some more emphasis on and like really talk about. And that conversation is global game mechanics in a fighting game kind of overshadowing the rest of the fighting game, which I think has been happening for a while now. You know, a few years ago, you wouldn't say it's a while, or even now you wouldn't say, wow, this has been going on for a while. But I mean, if we really sit down and look at it, it's been happening for 10 years or so at this point, I would say. First off, I want to apologize for the lack of videos. Norovirus has been going around my house. Everybody's been freaking miserable, dude. Running temperatures, throwing up, everything else, the whole works. It's been absolutely atrocious. Hasn't really hit me yet, so I'm trying to get this video out now before it's another 4 days before I don't put out a video. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. If you want more content like this, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you like this video, please like the video. It helps us out here. Leave me a comment, talk about all this down there. I love talking to you guys. That's the whole reason I do this crap. So yeah. But anyway, let's move into it. So as I said, it's been happening for a while now. I don't think it was so bad like when it first started around 10 years ago. It's kind of like post MKX. Like every fighting game after MKX is the problem, I would say. Street Fighter 5, there wasn't too much of an emphasis on it. I would say Guilty Gear Strive, there was definitely an emphasis on it. Dragon Ball FighterZ, not too much, but like every other game after those, like Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6, the later half of Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 for sure, I would say. Tekken 8's definitely much more of an offender, and even the upcoming Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, like it's an offender from what we can already see, kind of. We'll see how it all pans out. It's just really about global mechanics overshadowing the actual fundamental basics of fighting games, like neutral and footsies. And what that means is that we are using the global mechanic of the game in specificity, however you say that freaking word. In Street Fighter 6, it's Drive Rush. Drive Rush overshadows everything that the character that you are playing does base. And what I mean by that is Drive Rush makes everything better. Not really a single character in the game has anything that Drive Rush doesn't make 10 times better. We are more focused on what does this mechanic do for the character that I'm playing, if we're speaking in a competitive sense. What does the mechanic in the game do for this character that I'm playing that makes him better, instead of what does this character do better than the rest of the roster. So if we talk specifically like Ken, right? He has some good buttons, right? He has his low forward. He has his standing heavy punch. He has his standing heavy kick. I think it's standing heavy kick or forward heavy kick. I don't remember. Whichever one's the long boy. And obviously he has his neutral jump, forward jump, whatever, heavy punch. All really good buttons. That definitely makes the character good. But the global mechanic makes it so much better that it pushes Ken into top 1 to top 3 character range. And it kind of does that for every other character in the game. The mechanic itself makes the character better. It's a neutral skip, because now we're not just thinking about using that move in neutral, those moves in neutral. We're thinking about, okay, well, I can Drive Rush in and use that move. I can Drive Rush and use it so much better. I get a neutral skip because I can use that low forward. If it clips on block in neutral, I can go into Drive Rush and immediately go into plus buttons, right? A lot of moves on Drive Rush are plus, and it's super frustrating. It's a neutral skip, basically. It overshadows what characters can do base, and it's kind of a double-edged sword in the aspect that it really does, in a sense, make the game more balanced. How does that make sense? Well, it's because every character can do it, right? It's just some characters do it better. Like the top, I would say this game is definitely a little bit more balanced when it comes to character basis than a lot of other fighting games, in my opinion. So I would say like the top 10, top 8 characters in the game do just about the same thing. And even the characters below that, Drive Rush still balances it out to a point to where like everybody is viable. It's a double-edged sword in that aspect of we're playing a little bit more balanced of a game, but we're losing an entire segment of a fighting game for that reason, right? We're not really playing neutral in Street Fighter 6. We're drive rushing. We're throwing fireballs and drive rushing in. We're doing low forwards or standing heavy punches that can cancel, standing heavy kicks that can cancel, and to drive rush. We're doing all that. I mean, even past that point, when we're just talking about green shit, it doesn't work in the normal aspect of EXing a move. It recovers quick. You can do it a lot. And I feel like a lot of moves in the game, and I'll be more specific saying Lily. Yes, I'm referencing a character that a lot of people think is low tier. Lily, using her, I've never touched the character, so I don't know the input or the name of the move, but she charges it up, and then she can EX it to get in. She's super plus, and that's just like, that boils right there Street Fighter 6 down for me. That's what Street Fighter 6 is. You charge up your move, you get your stocks in whatever way, you use the green shit version of that move, you get in, and then you put your opponent in a rock, paper, scissors scenario, thanks to the green shit, or thanks to drive rush, because drive rush does the same thing. It's just not every character ends up being as plus as others, and Lily really does put you in like a crazy rock, paper, scissors scenario. To be more specific, because I know people look for any reason to call people out and say like, you don't know what you're talking about, right? So to be more specific, once she does her EX, or I think it's even heavy if she manages to get it out, after charging it up, she puts you in command grab position, normal grab position, so it's not as punishable as the command grab. She can use a heavy attack. She can use her a low light, whatever. She's got so much mix there. And what option do you have? You have the option of guessing the grab, jumping the command grab, or blocking, or using a EX green shit DP to try to get out of it. It's rock, paper, scissors out the wazoo. And that's what drive rush and green shit in general in Street Fighter really boils the game down to. It's a neutral skip into rock, paper, scissors. And that's how I feel that the global mechanics really overshadow the rest of the game and overshadow characters on a character-to-character basis, because you're not really doing anything special to put people in the positions that you're putting them in. It's drive rush and green shit putting them in those positions. You're not really having to work as hard as we've had to work in older fighting games, other fighting games. And I think it's definitely a way to move forward. If we're trying to move away from the difficulty of fighting games that came before and make it more casual accessible, it's definitely one way of moving forward. Do I think it's the best way? Absolutely not. I feel like there should still be some difficulty there where people are forced to play neutral in some type of way. Now, don't get me wrong, every single fighting game that has ever existed ever has had neutral skip in one way, shape, or form, whether it was specific characters that were the most played, whether it was global mechanics in older fighting games, because there have been some fighting games that are older with those global mechanics that have neutral skip. There's always been a neutral skip in fighting games, but from my experience, from my memory, I don't think I've ever played a fighting game past what I'll quote-unquote call modern fighting games, which is like post-Street Fighter V. I don't think I've ever played an older fighting game that had a global fighting game mechanic in it that gave every single character in the game a neutral skip. For me, I think that's only Street Fighter 6. And Street Fighter 6 isn't the only offender, dude. If we look at Tekken 8, I actually enjoy playing Tekken 8 a little bit more than Street Fighter 6 at this point. Maybe it's where I haven't put like 400 hours into Tekken 8, let's be real. I put 400 hours into Street Fighter 6. I haven't put that much time into Tekken 8, but I can see how at a point you could probably get to the same spot I'm at with Street Fighter 6 with Tekken 8. Because, dude, the heat smashes, the rage arcs, dude, like, it's nothing but comeback mechanics. I mean, I've been in positions, like, even in whatever the rank below blue rank is. I'm almost to blue rank in about 20 hours of playing Tekken in general. I've been put in positions where I have, like, not even 10% health left. I haven't used my heat smash or my rage art, and I've came back in about 10 to 15 seconds on a couple of good reads and a good bait, right? And I've came back all that health and won the round, and sometimes won the entire like match or set off of that. And I think that's actually kind of wild. It's global game mechanics that are really like controlling the way that we play fighting games nowadays, whether that be in neutral skip aspects, because we also have to think about in Tekken, one of the major neutral skips for me, even though I believe most of them are punishable, just a little bit more difficult, or maybe I'm just not getting punished at the rank I'm at. But the character's built-in armor move. I think every single character has one, and that's a neutral skip. It's a little bit harder. It's kind of like DI, right? You can't play the poking game when an armor move is in play, and believe me, I use that fucking armor move, and half the time it hits. And I've had some situations where I use that armor move and they're scared to press a button, so I use an unsafe or whatever armor move and then immediately go into pressure. And that is the other player's problem. That is my problem if I allow that to happen. But still, it's a situation that can happen. So yeah, I mean, it kind of ruins neutral a little bit. And it's just, man, it's these global game mechanics taking over. I don't think it's the worst thing. Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6 are definitely more fun to me than Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5, at least at the beginning of Street Fighter 5. I just wish that we could get to a point of fighting games to where there was a little bit more balance. I feel like the global game mechanics are taking over because there's a more casual design going into the fighting games. Like developers are definitely thinking like, hey, we want to get this casual fan base, you know, to actually stick around. We want to pull in more casual people to buy and play these fighting games. And it's a thing of, if we really boil it down, these global game mechanics actually make the games a lot easier. I'd say casuals, and I can speak from experience with Tekken 8 because I'm still at that casual level. I'm not at a competitive level yet. It's really fun, right? It's a lot of fun, but once you get to the competitive level of play with these fighting games and these mechanics, it's like, holy shit, it's just annoying because it's so abusable, dude. It's so abusable. But like at a casual level, dude, it's super fun. Like you have a lot of fun playing the game. It's not really like maddening or anything because nobody really knows how to use it efficiently at that level. And it just makes the game like crazy, like fast and wild and whippy and dippy and everything else. So I think it's definitely like, it's a casual tool, right? It's how the developers are designing the game to be more appealing to casuals. These are those mechanics. This is why the global mechanics are overshadowing characters on a character-to-character basis, because that character-to-character basis of characters being good, better than other characters for specific reasons is what makes fighting games difficult, because you have to learn matchups. Don't get me wrong, there still are matchups to learn, you still have to know matchups, but these global game mechanics that really skip a lot of what a character could be good at and what can make a matchup good or bad, these global mechanics skipping those aspects definitely makes the game easier. So I don't know, man. It's a wishy-washy subject. It's like, damn, if we go back to like how games were like 10 years ago, we had a lot of hit or miss. These new fighting games are like Fast, Fun, and Crazy, Strive, Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, you know. So, like, what do we do about it? I don't really know. I don't know how we get back. I'm not a game developer. I only sit here and critique from the sidelines. I just really hope we can eventually find, like, some balance to where we can have good, casual, accessible mechanics in the game that doesn't completely skip parts of the fighting game that I think a lot of people enjoy. I really enjoy the mind games of neutral. And it doesn't become like an abusable, annoying as shit mechanic when we get to a certain level. I really hope we can find a balance there. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves does look like it has a lot of mechanical depth to it. We'll see how casual accessible those mechanics are and how abusable they are at a competitive level and how much they overshadow characters on a character-to-character basis. I'm really cautiously optimistic for the game, and I'm really keeping my eye on it. And I'm hoping once we get to play it with the open beta coming out soon, I think, very soon, I think. Hopefully we'll have more of an idea if it's going to be a Street Fighter 6 Tekken 8 situation, or if it's just going to be a good old fighting game from the olden days with a lot of mechanical depth. We'll see. I want you guys to let me know what you think about it in the comments down below, though. How do you feel about global mechanics overshadowing characters? Or the rest of the fighting game, skipping parts of the fighting game? Do you think I'm speaking out my ass? Do you think that that is not what's going on here? I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say. I really appreciate you dudes watching. If you want more content like this, again, please subscribe to the video. If you enjoyed the video, again, please give it a like. Really appreciate it. My name is Tekken. I've been your host, and I'll see you dudes next time. Peace out.